बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। अस्सलाम वालेकुम नाज़रीन। डॉक्टर हज़रत उमर ज़ाख़िलवाल साहब सिर्फ पाकिस्तान में अफ़गानिस्तान के सफ़ीर नहीं हैं, बल्कि यहाँ पे वो अफ़गानिस्तान के सदर के ख़ुसूसी नुमाइंदे भी हैं। अमेरिका और कनाडा के यूनिवर्सिटियों में उन्होंने तालीम हासिल की। सियासत में आने से कबल मईशत से मुतालिक, ख़ित्ते की सियासत से मुतालिक, अफ़गानिस्तान की सियासत से मुतालिक उनके मज़ामीन न्यूयॉर्क टाइम और वाशिंगटन पोस्ट जैसे अखबारात में शाया होते रहे। साबिक़ सदर जनाब हामिद करज़ई साहब ने उनको वज़ीर ख़ज़ाना नामज़द किया और उन्होंने यकीनन एक बड़ी कंट्रीब्यूशन की अफ़गानिस्तान की मईशत को जदीद दौर के तकाज़ों से हम आहंग बनाने के लिए। अब जबकि एक बार फिर दोनों ममालिक के ताल्लुकात नहायत हसास वक्त में दाखिल हो गए, तो अफ़गानिस्तान के सदर ने मुनासिब समझा कि एक ऐसी शख्सियत को पाकिस्तान में अपना सफ़ीर बना दे जिन्हें न सिर्फ उनका और हामिद करज़ई साहब जैसी शख्सियात का ज़ाती एतमाद भी हासिल हो, बल्कि वो अफ़गानिस्तान की हुकूमत की मुश्किलात और मजबूरियों को भी जानते हो। मैं इंतहाई मशकूर हूँ कि वो हमारी दरख्वास्त पे आज जिरगे में तशरीफ़ लाए। तो आइए नाज़रीन, गुफ्तगू का आगाज़ करते हैं पाकिस्तान में इस्लामी जमहूरिया अफ़गानिस्तान के सफ़ीर और अफ़गान सदर के ख़ुसूसी नुमाइंदे जनाब हज़रत उमर ज़ाख़िलवाल साहब से। बहुत शुक्रिया ज़ाख़िलवाल साहब। उर्दू समझने में कोई दिक्कत तो नहीं है?
नो प्रॉब्लम।
सबसे पहले मैं ये जानना चाहता हूँ, आप खुल के हमारे देखने वालों को भी बुरा उसका नहीं मनाना चाहिए। ज़रूरी नहीं है कि उससे मुझे इत्तेफाक हो या जियो को इत्तेफाक हो, लेकिन आज आप खुल के दिल से अफ़गानिस्तान का केस बयान कर लीजिए। तो पहले तो मैं ये जानना चाहता हूँ कि इस वक्त अफ़गानिस्तान की हुकूमत को और अफ़गानिस्तान के अवाम को अपने पाकिस्तानी भाइयों से और पाकिस्तानी हुकूमत से क्या शिकायत है?
The issue is that we do believe, and by we particularly, of course that includes me as well, that Pakistan could certainly be more helpful in changing the situation on the ground in Afghanistan from the one that is today to the one that's more peaceful, to the one that's more stable, to the one that is, again, more secured. And it would be a state that will have an immediate positive impact on Afghanistan-Pakistan relations. It will have an immediate impact on not only on Pakistan security, on Pakistan economy. Pakistan economy then has an impact on Afghanistan as well. And therefore, this interdependency between Afghanistan and Pakistan is something that when I raise the issue of Afghanistan, or when anybody raises the issue of Afghanistan, particularly the issue of peace, automatically Pakistan is connected to that.
Excellency, what Pakistan can do which you people think is not going to do?
Well, what we are trying to push is Pakistan needs to really review its policy vis-a-vis Afghanistan. In Afghanistan there is war. We cannot blame all of it on Pakistan. But the reality is that those who are carrying out in leading war in Afghanistan, a significant leadership of those people have presence in this country. And that needs to be acknowledged. Again, the recent case of Mullah Mansour, I do not want to make an issue out of it, but it signifies this claim on our side that leadership is present on this side and wanders around freely. So imposing restrictions on those movements and imposing restrictions on the activities of that leadership on the Pakistani soil will have a direct consequence on their ability to carry out the fighting and war and sabotage activities in our country.
लेकिन सफ़ीर साहब, इधर लाखों की तादाद में अफ़गान रिफ्यूजीज़ हैं। उनमें मौलवी भी होगा, उनमें तालिब भी होगा, उनमें मुजाहिद भी होगा, उनमें फ़ौजी भी होगा। अब जब एक तरफ पाकिस्तान उन महाजरीन के ख़िलाफ़ कोई कार्रवाई करता है या आप लोगों से कहते हैं कि आप उनको ले जाएं, तो उसके लिए भी आप लोग तैयार नहीं हैं, तो उसकी आड़ में अगर अफ़गान तालिब नाम बदल के, शक्ल बदल के यहाँ पर रहता है, तो उसके लिए पाकिस्तान को क्यों कर ब्लेम किया जा सकता है? फिर सारे अफगानों को या रिफ्यूजीज को क्यों नहीं ले जाया जाता?
There is a difference. I deliberately mentioned leadership. It would be maybe for a month or two or a year for a group as large as the Taliban, for an activity as large as they are carrying out in Afghanistan. It might be possible to carry out and lead the war in Afghanistan in hiding. But for a select leadership of 10, 15, 20, 30, 50 people, to continuously do that for 10, 15 years and not to know would be difficult to accept. Again, coming back, not to make an issue out of it, but a leadership of the Taliban, Mullah Mansour, you know, he was not in hiding somewhere. He was freely wandering around, carrying out Pakistani passports, carrying visas.
But with the name of Wali Muhammad.
Yeah, but I would be insulting the intelligence here in Pakistan if they did not know that he was Mullah Mansour and that he was, you know, his pictures were all over the places and that he was using the airports here and he was crossing the borders and he was, you know. I think the path of denial in such cases would not be helpful. I mean, it's been, the good thing is that Pakistan now is acknowledging that the Taliban
लेकिन माजी में तो अफगानिस्तान के प्रेसिडेंशियल कैंडिडेट्स भी पाकिस्तानी डॉक्यूमेंट्स के साथ
Sure. But what I'm saying is this is different. These are people who carry out war in Afghanistan. Those carry out sabotage in Afghanistan. Those are the type of people that on April 19th carry out one of the biggest suicide bombing in Kabul that kills tens and tens of people and hundreds of people got injured. These are people just yesterday kidnapped 180 passengers in the north and killed about 17 of them at point blank, and then there are 18. So it's these type of people we are talking about here. But
लेकिन एक्सेलेंसी पाकिस्तान और इस खित्ते में अमरीकी इंटेलिजेंस है, उनके पास बहुत ज़्यादा रिसोर्सेज हैं, ब्रिटिश इंटेलिजेंस है, इंडियन इंटेलिजेंस है, आपका अपना NDS है. क्या इससे पहले उनमें से किसी को इल्म था कि ये मुल्ला मंसूर है और इस नाम से ट्रेवल कर रहे हैं?
No, it's not about the name, whether he was using this name. It's about Mullah Mansour himself that was a knowledge that he was present here. It's about Mullah Hibatullah himself that there is a knowledge that he is in Quetta, for example. Maybe he is a bit displaced, but Mullah Hibatullah was around here. He was traveling freely. He traveled to Peshawar just 2 weeks prior to him becoming the new Emir of Taliban. So I'm coming back to the point. The good news.
एक इसमें अगर और वजाहत कर लीजिए, माजरत चाहता हूँ. मुल्ला अख्तर मंसूर भी उस दिन ईरान से आ रहे थे, 3-4 मरतबा पहले भी जा चुके थे. इन्हीं तालिबान की क़यादत कतर में बाकायदा दफ्तर में भी वहाँ पे बैठे हुए हैं. तो जो शिकवा या जो गिला, पाकिस्तान तो फिर भी ये उज़र पेश कर सकते हैं कि यहाँ वो रिफ्यूजीज है, तो इसलिए अब न कतर में रिफ्यूजीज है, न ईरान में इसी तरह रिफ्यूजीज आज़ादाना फिर रहे हैं. तो ईरान से शिकायत नहीं, कतर से शिकायत नहीं, दुनिया के किसी और मुल्क से नहीं, सिर्फ पाकिस्तान से क्यों?
It's only recently that some Taliban leadership have started traveling to Iran. It's only a few years ago that on behalf of the Pakistani-based leadership, members of the Taliban are sitting in Qatar. They do not have their own independence in their own voice. They represent the leadership who are based on this side. But this is, the good news is that we are not stuck in that conversation now. There's been an acknowledgement on the Pakistan side, which is a good step, that yes, there are Taliban leadership present on this side. Yes, they do have influence over them. And now it's not sort of in a way of complaint, I'm saying it's a way of expectation that if they are present and then there is influence, that influence, if it was not used to date, that it is used going forward for peace and stability in our country.
उस इन्फ्लुएंस को पाकिस्तान किस लिए यूज करे? आप लोगों का डिमांड इस वक्त क्या है? उनको आपके साथ मुज़ाकरात के लिए बिठाएं, उनको मार दे, उनको निकाल दे।
You see, first of all, if we believed in a total annihilation and destruction of the Taliban, then we would not have kept the door open for peace. The voice of peace has come from Kabul, not from the Taliban. It has not come from any third country to advise Afghanistan on peace. During President Karzai, consistently he was calling on Taliban to come and join peace. And during President Ashraf Ghani, the exact same thing. So peace is our preferred option, as always. But when these forces do not come forward to join peace, and they continue to inflict damages on the next door neighbor, targeting civilians, targeting public infrastructure, targeting ordinary lives, then it becomes the responsibility of a neighbor that is so close to be helpful in putting a stop in or helping to put a stop to the situation.
लेकिन अफगानिस्तान के अंदर नेटो है, पूरी दुनिया है, रिसोर्सेज हैं, वसाइल हैं और आप लोगों की अपनी हुकूमत है। इसके बावजूद हमने देखा कि पूरे सूबे या विलायत पे तालिबान काबिज हो जाते हैं। अगर अख्तर मंसूर यहाँ से बरामद हुए तो इसी तरह मुल्ला दादुल्ला वो अफगानिस्तान में मारे गए और भी दर्जनों तालिबान लीडर वहाँ पे हैं। तो उधर आप लोग इनको क्यों कंट्रोल नहीं कर सकते?
You see, leadership matters. Leadership in a fight like that, there are tens of thousands of Taliban who have been killed. Unfortunately, because they're also Afghans. And they've gone astray, and as a result, of course, their demise has brought anguish to Afghan families. But again, the leadership does matter. Where does this leadership comes from? Where does the fatwas come from? Most of the fatwas, unfortunately, you see, are on this side for waging jihad in Afghanistan.
नाज़रीन, अफगान सफ़ीर के साथ ये खसूसी जरगा कंटिन्यू करेंगे एक मुख्तसर से वक्फे के बाद। एक बार फिर खुश आमदेद आपको जरगे में। मेरी और आपकी खुशकिस्मती आज के जरगे में हमारे साथ तशरीफ़ फरमा हैं अफ़गान प्रेसिडेंट के पाकिस्तान में खसूसी नुमाइंदे और पाकिस्तान में इस्लामी जमहूरिया अफ़गानिस्तान के सफ़ीर जनाब डॉक्टर उमर ज़ाखिलवाल साहब। एक्सेलेंसी, माजी में अब्दुलसलाम ज़ईफ़ को बड़ी बेशर्मी से हमारी हुकूमत ने गिरफ्तार करके आपको दे दिया, आज वो आज़ादी से फिर रहे हैं। डॉक्टर गैरत बहीर को गिरफ्तार करके आपको दे दिया, आज वो आपके यहाँ VIP हैं। इसी तरह मुल्ला बिरादर को यहाँ पाकिस्तान ने अरेस्ट किया, उस पर अफगान प्रेसिडेंट ने एहतजाज किया। तो पाकिस्तानी हुकाम इस पे भी हैरान हैं कि अगर हम उनको नाराज करके आपको या अमेरिकन को दे दें तो इसकी क्या गारंटी है कि आप उनको दोस्त बना के फिर हमारे खिलाफ इस्तेमाल नहीं करेंगे?
Gairat Bahir is not an enemy of Pakistan. Mullah Zaif is not an enemy of Pakistan. They live in peace. So if they have arrested and submitted into the Afghan side, they have a peaceful life. So it has, in fact, done good for those individuals and good for both Afghanistan and Pakistan. So there is no example of individuals who have been arrested, handed over to our side, and which we have turned those against Pakistan, because that's not in our interest. The same way, the war in Afghanistan directly affects Pakistan. Turmoil, insecurity in Pakistan affects Afghanistan.
True.
Our fate is interdependent. So it would not be in our interest that, and by force, we absolutely do not mean that, again, those individuals be killed, those individuals be detained. Again, the killing is a very last resort when people do not come to terms to accept a peaceful way of life and endangers the lives of ordinary civilians, endangers the security of the whole country, then of course there comes a point that you need to take actions against them.
अच्छा, मसला तो अफगानों ने आपस में हल करना है, लेकिन न मरी में आप लोग उनको कुछ दे सके, न कतर में आप उनसे बात, तो इसमें पाकिस्तान का रोल कहाँ से आता है?
Peace talks, the one that happened in Murree, happened after years of insistence from the Afghan government side. It wasn't something that the Taliban came forward and then we were invited to. No, it was upon the insistence of the Afghan government to get there. It was upon the insistence of the Afghan government that in the quadrilateral context, earlier this year, we agreed to open the doors for peace talks unconditionally to every element or every group of the Taliban, regardless of their background, regardless of their brutality, to come forward and set in the date for late February, and then the beginning of March was set for that, which unfortunately did not materialize, and Taliban opted for war, for the spring offensive and for the type of suicide bombing they carried out. So from our side, if we were not serious in talks, then we would not be, in fact, those who are continuously insisting and pushing for this.
अब कोई इम्कान है मुज़ाकरात का, मुफाहमत का, या आप लोग समझते हैं कि जो क्वाड्रिलेटरल प्रोसेस था या मुफाहमत का जो अमल था मुज़ाकरात का, वो अमलन ख़त्म और नाकाम हो चुका है?
The quadrilateral is a helpful process, but a helpful complementary forum. We believe that within the quadrilateral, it's Afghanistan and Pakistan that can do more together. And that's why I'm continuously pushing for direct Pakistan-Afghanistan interaction. Direct Afghanistan-Pakistan engagement such that it produces more trust between these two countries. Unfortunately, there is no trust between these two countries. And this lack of trust has created an environment that, of course, has resulted in the situation we live in today. We live in most, but also you live in today as well. Because, again, the sense of security that the Pakistanis had 15, 20, 30 years ago do not have. And it's directly related to the situation in Afghanistan. Your economy is badly affected by the situation in Afghanistan, and so is the image of Pakistan. Of course, that's not in our interest.
उस ट्रस्ट को बहाल करने के लिए और ट्रस्ट डेफिसिट को ख़त्म करने के लिए क्या इक़दामात होने चाहिए? स्टेप 1, स्टेप 2, स्टेप 3?
First of all, I prefer direct Afghanistan-Pakistan interaction. Open, frank, candid discussion. Afghanistan has, again, by appointing a senior minister to represent Afghanistan to serve as an ambassador here, has shown its seriousness. And I, as the President's special envoy, do knock on many doors that we are absolutely open for a frank and open discussion. We'd like to see a response to that openness from Pakistan as well. I'm sure Pakistan has grievances. Otherwise, it will not be following the policy that is not serving us, that's not serving Pakistan. It's hurting both of us. To come forward, and we have issues, we'll put them on the table. We'll be happy that some of them are proven wrong, and some might be. And we will be happy to hear from Pakistan what Pakistan's grievances. And we'll be, again, happy to prove some of them are misperceptions, because there are misperceptions as well. A lot more so from Pakistan side than there are from Afghan side. But again, the open and candid discussion will show that. So quite a bit of grievances as a result of direct interaction, if they are removed, they are corrected, we keep our mind open for accepting those, then quite a bit of it is resolved without, in fact, doing something. And that will add to the trust that's not there, that will support the trust. Then, in addition to that, of course, I would absolutely not be here serving as an ambassador if I did not believe that Pakistan's leadership does not believe that peace in Afghanistan is in Pakistan's national interest. I would not be here because it is in Pakistan's national interest. If the situation in Afghanistan, if there is any country that's hurt more by the situation of Afghanistan, it's Pakistan.
आपने क्या महसूस किया अभी तक इंटरेक्शन में कि पाकिस्तानी लीडरशिप, सिविल भी और मिलिट्री भी, वो विल नहीं है उनके यहाँ, नीयत का मसला है या कि कैपेसिटी और अंडरस्टैंडिंग का मसला है?
In leadership there is a will. I can see certainly, both in the military leadership there is a will in understanding of this. There is within the civilian, definitely there is. But unfortunately, the institutional thinking is rigid. The leadership, the thinking of the leadership hasn't really trickled down to and the implementers of policies are again the institutions downward. It hasn't really trickled down to the institutions.
सभी साहब 2/3 वक्त आपका हक ज्यादा बनता था, मेहमान होने के नाते, भाई होने के नाते, इसलिए 2/3 वक्त हमने दे दिया कि अफगानिस्तान के ग्रीवेंसेस और डिमांड क्या है। एक मुख्तसर सी ब्रेक लेते और उसके बाद जब आएंगे तो 1/3 या 1/3 वक्त जो है वो मैं चाहूँगा कि जो पाकिस्तानी भाइयों के ग्रीवेंसेस है या शिकायत है वो आपके सामने रखूं कि उसको आप किस तरह रिस्पॉन्ड करते हैं। नाज़रीन, एक मुख्तसर सी ब्रेक लेते हैं और वापस आएंगे तो अफगान प्रेसिडेंट के स्पेशल एनवॉय और पाकिस्तान में इस्लामी जमहूरिया अफगानिस्तान के सफ़ीर जनाब डॉक्टर उमर ज़ाखिर वाल साहब से ये गुफ्तगू जारी रखेंगे। वेलकम बैक नाजरीन। जरगे में हमारे साथ तशरीफ़ फरमा हैं पाकिस्तान में अफगानिस्तान के सफ़ीर जनाब डॉक्टर उमर ज़ाखिर वाल साहब। डॉक्टर साहब, हमने गलतियां भी बहुत की होंगी। एक गिला यहाँ पे ये है कि आज अफगानिस्तान में मीडिया में, सियासत में, किसी और उस सोवियत यूनियन को वो गाली नहीं पड़ती जिसने अफगानिस्तान पे हमला किया, उस अमरीका को नहीं पड़ती, किसी और मुल्क को नहीं पड़ती, लेकिन उस पाकिस्तान को सबसे ज़्यादा गाली पड़ती है और पाकिस्तानियों को सबसे ज़्यादा नफरत मिलती है। तो उन एहसानात का बदला इस शक्ल में क्यों?
First of all, I absolutely, again when I say Pakistan, if there's one country that has suffered the most from the situation, it is Pakistan. If it's one country that came to the help of the Afghan refugees, and particularly in the 80s, of which I was one of them, it was Pakistan. It was, and I've said it before, and I'm going to repeat it, it was an enormous gesture of generosity by the Pakistani people that showed it towards refugees. We see that in Europe, a few 100,000, and we can see the whole European crisis. But in Pakistan in the 80s, we were in millions, and there are still about 2.5 million Afghans living in this territory. And Afghans are grateful for that. Afghans will not forget that. But the situation in Afghanistan is that it is a country in war. It's a country that's bleeding. On a daily basis, somebody's relatives, some in the government and some absolutely going about their businesses, die. And the perception in Afghanistan is that Pakistan either contributes to it or at least is turning a blind eye to those who are planning it from the soil, and that has led to the grievances. To what extent, again, there is accuracy, this is something that we need to really bring it to surface. I'm not personally, and then I've spoken out against it, I'm not for public bad-mouthing on either side. It's the same happens not only on our side, maybe on our side we have more of war, but in Pakistan media is negative as well. I do watch some of the roundtables and some of the thinking of the media people.
लेकिन यहाँ वो रेशो बहुत कम और काबुल में बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं।
Well, you see, because on this side you probably are more focused in Kabul. In Kabul we are more focused on this. You are a bigger country, but if you average it out, probably, you know, maybe we are a little bit more or something like that. The issue is that first there is a lack of knowledge on both sides, and that requires an interaction not only between the government but interaction between media as well. There is enormous lack of knowledge. An enormous lack of knowledge. We must agree that everything that goes wrong in Afghanistan, Pakistan is not responsible for. But again, there are misperceptions on this side.
अच्छा, एक्सेलेंसी, जिस तरह अब ये एक हकीकत है कि मुल्ला अख्तर मंसूर वली मोहम्मद के नाम से यहाँ थे और पाकिस्तानी सरजमीन पे मारे गए, इसी तरह ये भी एक हकीकत है कि APS में सैकड़ों बच्चों को शहीद करने वाले, पाकिस्तान में मासूम लोगों को मारने वाले, पाकिस्तानी अफवाज से लड़ने वाले, वो लोग भी कुनड़ में हैं, वो लोग भी निंगरहार में हैं। और अब ये भी ढकी छुपी बात नहीं है कि आपके एनडीएस उनकी सरपरस्ती कर रही है, उनको कार्ड दिए हुए हैं, तो फिर अगर ये गलती भी है तो जो गलती हमने की जिसको आप कंडेम कर रहे हैं, अब अफगान हुकूमत ही वो गलती क्यों कर रही है?
Now, first of all, let's say TTP is in Kunar. Where are the Taliban? They are in Kunduz, they are in Kunar, they are in Nuristan. That's why we say the Pakistani Taliban and Afghan Taliban are two faces of the same coin. The same way that Afghan Taliban are not helping our security and stability, Pakistani Taliban probably are even worse. And our expectation from Pakistan is to treat both Taliban the same way. Now, go back to the roots of the TTP. Is the roots of the TTP back in Kabul? Has it originated from with incentives given in Kabul? Or they claim to be affiliated somehow to the Tehrik-e-Taliban Afghanistan?
नहीं, उस तरह तो अफगान तालिबान के रूट्स भी तो अफगान मुजाहिदीन में है ना। अब तो टीटीपी को काबुल से सपोर्ट मिलती है।
But right now, no, absolutely not. We deny that. Not only we, again, I as the President's Special Envoy, and I say this now openly in my discussion with the leadership here, that we are open on the Afghan side for any third-party verification. Any third-party verification. That no forces, whether that's TTP, that is some other intelligence, that there's some other force, that's the Baloch or whatever, are getting any help within Afghanistan to carry out sabotage of, activities in Pakistan. But at the same time, Pakistan agrees for a third-party verification that no Taliban leadership are planning the war in Afghanistan. It's a fair thing to suggest, and we are absolutely open to it.
यानी अब आप लोग उसको एक बार्गेनिंग चिप के तौर
No,
पर
it's not a bargaining chip.
अफगान तालिबान की कार्रवाई करेगा तो आप लोगों के
खिलाफ. It's not a bargaining chip. I think we need to. It's a joint effort to eliminate this menace from the two countries. This situation, whether it is the TTP, it's a consequence of the Taliban. Whether tomorrow it could be something else, the ISIS in Afghanistan, and God forbid if it comes to Pakistan, would be a consequence of the Taliban. So we need to remove elements that in the future, God knows what else would it lead to.
TTA के बारे में तो आप लोगों का डिमांड कांस्टेंट और क्लियर नहीं था। हामिद करजई साहब कहते थे मारे नहीं, इनको बिठाएं हमारे साथ। अब भी आपकी हुकूमत का डिमांड पहले ये था कि हमारे साथ निगोसिएशन को फैसिलिटेट करे। टीटीपी के बारे में या बलोच मिलिटेंट के बारे में पाकिस्तान का मुतालबा बिल्कुल वाज़ेह है कि इनको मार दे। आपकी हुकूमत उनके खिलाफ विजिबल पाकिस्तान को कॉन्फिडेंस में लेके ऑपरेशन करने, कार्रवाई करने के लिए तैयार है?
If we could eliminate forces of destruction, if we could do, then first we will go and eliminate the Afghan Taliban, you see. For us, those are an immediate threat and all that. You need to understand our limitations.
So
you see, the TTP, go and ask, for example, the former Prime Minister's son,
Ali Haider Gilani.
Yes, Ali Haider Gilani. He was kidnapped here, ended up in Afghanistan. And the hands that from which he was changed. Again, their story will tell you that you cannot make a distinction between the Taliban here and the Al-Qaeda here and the Taliban on their side. It's at the end one chain. One chain. For us, it's not that we have not acted against the TTP. The Peshawar army, the army school culprits, where were they busted? They finally were hanged here. Weren't they in Afghanistan? Who helped with that? Who did it? We did it. If, God forbid, we were supporting...
American did it.
No, we did it. We did it. What is our decision? I was still a member of the National Security Council. We did it. We did it. It was our decision. The deputy for Baitullah Masood, who was with the American forces, who was transferred to us, without any exchange, without putting any conditions, who transferred him to the Pakistani
but at the same time, Pakistani intelligence handed over the pictures of your NDS official with the TTP leader. Mullah Faqir Muhammad was in Kabul. Afghan President Hamid Karzai confessed this. Yes, he is living here in Kabul.
No. He's not confessed it. We absolutely deny it. We will be absolutely open to that. Like I said, we would be open not only to bilateral discussion on this, but third-party verification. It could not be stronger than that. Here, you have a country in which you have your own army, which is in full control. And in Afghanistan, we get the support of American forces, NATO forces, and all that. When you claim that in Kabul there are TTP, so it's not only you are blaming us, but not we can believe this. You are blaming the American NATO forces as well.
अफगानिस्तान एक सॉवरेन कंट्री है, उसका इख्तियार है, उसको हक होना चाहिए कि वो जिस भी मुल्क के साथ ताल्लुक़ रखे, जिस भी मुल्क के साथ मुआहदा करे। लेकिन आप जानते हैं कि हिंदुस्तान और पाकिस्तान की एक दायमी दुश्मनी है। क़याम पाकिस्तान से लेकर आज तक उसने पाकिस्तान के वजूद को तस्लीम नहीं किया। हमारी जंगें हुई, वो हमारे बारे में हसास है, हम उनके बारे में हसास हैं। तो एक ये जो शिकवा है, और अब जो लोग पकड़े गए, कलभूषण यादव हो या उनके नेशनल सिक्योरिटी के एडवाइज़र के ख्यालात हों, वो किससे डकी छुपी नहीं है कि अफ़गानिस्तान में बैठ के वो पाकिस्तान को घेरना चाहते हैं, मुआसरा करना चाहते हैं दोनों तरफ से। तो इस हवाले से जो पाकिस्तान के कंसर्न्स हैं, आप ठीक है चीन के साथ करें, रूस के साथ करें, ईरान के साथ करें, किसी और के, लेकिन ये जो अफ़गानिस्तान ने किया कि इंडिया को ला के उनको इतनी आज़ादी दी कि वो अफ़गान साहिल को पाकिस्तान के ख़िलाफ़ इस्तेमाल करे। अपने एक भाई के हमारी ज़िद समझें, हमारी गलती समझें, हमारी ख्वाहिश समझें, इस चीज़ को अफ़गान हुकूमत एड्रेस क्यों नहीं करती, और इसके हवाले से पाकिस्तानी कंसर्न्स को आप लोग क्या दूर कर सकते हैं?
First of all, the Indian role in Afghanistan is the biggest misperception in Pakistan. Misperception that could be easily verified, and we are absolutely on our side open to verification. But then belief in Pakistan is so set that unfortunately not yet open to correct some of the misperceptions. This claim about 16, 17 consulate generals, where there are 4 from the day of independence and not a single other been added and still in Pakistan gets repeated. If a fact so simple that could be verified within a day is not verified and not corrected, you can imagine how much more misperceptions there are. As a sovereign state, it's our right to have any type of relationship you have with any country. But as our neighbor, you have the right to expect that no relationship with other country is harmful to you. And it's absolutely not in our interest that we allow any country, including India, to use our territory against you. And therefore, we are absolutely open for a discussion on that. We are absolutely open for verification on that. The facts are on the ground. It could be whatever Pakistan says, we are open to come and verify.
Last question.
Yeah, sure.
अफगान तालिबान को आप लोग क्या ऑफर कर सकते हैं? कोई मीटिंग पॉइंट हो सकता है, बजाय वो अफगान कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को नहीं मानते, खिलाफत मांगते हैं, अमीरुल मोमिनीन मांगते हैं, दूसरी तरफ अफगान हुकूमत कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन से पीछे नहीं हट सकती, कोई मीटिंग पॉइंट आप लोगों का और अफगान तालिबान का आ सकता है और अफगान हुकूमत कुछ ऑफर कर सकती है जवाब में तालिबान को?
These are the meeting point is wanting peace. Do they want peace or not? The rest are all matters of negotiation. Before negotiation, you cannot show your hands what is that you offer. We've said, in negotiation, anything is open for discussion. But it doesn't mean that anything they say is acceptable. They could raise the issue with Constitution, but if there are issues within the Constitution that we cannot accept, then we will in the negotiating table, we will argue, and we will convince the other side as to why we cannot. There might be things in the Constitution that maybe we will listen to Taliban, and they may have a point there. But only around the negotiating table, we will be able to discuss that. Prior to the negotiation, you cannot say to your possession, well, I do not accept that in that. Well, there is no need for negotiation if we trade those possessions through media and public positioning.
Your Excellency, thank you very much.
Manna taas.